Hey guys, Q here, and this is a guide for how to defeat Reno and Rude in Final Fantasy VII Remake Hard Mode at the end of Chapter 12. Some of this is going to go by pretty fast, some of this is going to take a while. So we're going to start out with showing you the equipment. With Cloud, we're going to start with a physical build, so it's going to be the Hard Edge and a Fury Ring. As a matter of fact, all three of them are going to have physical builds. Obviously, you want the Chain Bangle on Cloud. Tifa, Metal Knuckles, and Fury Ring, of course the Force Bracelet. And Barrett is going to bat the Wrecking Ball and the Fury Ring. One key point to this strategy, you want Barrett to have one of the physical attachments, so do not give him Gatling Gun, Light Machine Gun, Big Bertha, or EKG Cannon. You want him to have the Steel Pincers or the Wrecking Ball. For materia, you want Cloud to have the Elemental and Wind materia. It doesn't really matter which element, but I chose Wind just in case for the fourth phase of the fight. You want to, of course, give him the Steadfast Block and a Healing materia and a Prayer materia. Of course, we're going to do two standards with HP ups, and then we want to do 2 luck ups. For Tifa, she is going to play a role here. We want her to have the binding materia. That's going to be very important, as well as the poison materia is going to just kind of help out throughout some of the phases. Steadfast Block, Healing, Prayer, 2 HP ups, and the First Strike. You also want to make sure that she has a First Strike materia. And then for Barrett, again, we're going to go with Elemental and Wind. It's going to help out with a little bit of the damage. Not too important, just like with Cloud. Steadfast Block materia, the Healing materia, 2 HP ups, a Prayer. And you also want to make sure that Barrett has the First Strike as well, because you want him to have a linked Magnify and Barrier materia. And I'll show you those uses throughout the fight. You also want to make sure that each person just has a summon, at least one small summon in case you get to the point where you have to use a summon. It's good to have one on hand, so Barrett has Ifrit there. Now, as soon as the fight starts, we're going to cast a Magnified Barrier, Mana Wall, or Mana Ward, or Mana Wall with Barrett. I would actually suggest Mana Wall. And then with Tifa, you're going to use Bio or Bioga, whatever have you, just something to damage Reno and get him poisoned. Now, and then we're going to try effectively to play this like the first fight with Reno. We're just going to have Cloud sit in Punisher mode and use his counterattack. Now, obviously, he hits a bit harder. He has a bit more of attacks in this fight. So you are going to want to cast Regen on Cloud as soon as someone has a chance to. And then basically just try and stick to this corner while keeping Cloud in Punisher mode and counterattacking. And use your ATBs to heal. But other than that, just let Reno damage himself, just like the first fight. Again, it's a little harder. He does a little more devastating attacks, but as long as you heal when it's needed, don't worry about your MP. You'll get all of it back in the third phase, as long as Tifa has a little bit of MP for the second phase. Second phase. So as long as Tifa has a little bit of MP at the start of the second phase, you are good to go to just heal up and let him damage himself. Now make sure to keep that Mana Wall or Mana Ward up, as well as Regen on Cloud until the first phase. It ends pretty abruptly. There we go. Now, for the second phase, it's going to be the Long Cheese. for the second phase, we're going to be putting Reno to sleep. Second phase is when he starts having the binding attack, that little pyramid droid he has. We're going to avoid that entirely by effectively taking him out in one hit. So as soon as the next phase starts, switch to Tifa or whoever has your binding materia, and as soon as Reno jumps over, now the timing on this is very important. As soon as Reno jumps over, open that ATB menu and bring up the sleep attack and go to the target screen. Now you see how it says no valid target. As soon as that valid target comes available, launch sleep and then start switching characters. Any second now, just wait on this screen. You don't want to screw it up. There we go. As soon as it becomes available, cast that sleep and then start switching characters. This will prevent Cloud or Barrett from waking him up on accident. And so what we're doing here is we're setting up a triple threat attack. We're going to wait until his sleep. We're going to wait till everyone's ATB is back up, and we're going to wait until his sleep gets to about 75%, and we're going to launch a trio of attacks. Now with Cloud, we're going to use Infinity's End. With Barrett, we're going to use Point Blank, and with Tifa I used Bio because it can help, because he can be poisoned, you see, while he's down, but it doesn't really matter as long as you time it perfectly. And I'm going to show you what that timing looks like. So it's at 75%. You want to do Clouds first, trigger that Infinity End, and do not launch another attack by Tifa or Barrett until Cloud's hilt is completely covered by him. So you see I'm lining up Tifa's Bioga magic, and this is gonna, if it lands, it'll help because Reno will take more damage, but wait to launch it. I got it sped up a little bit here, but wait to launch it until his hilt is completely behind him, right there. Then go ahead and attack. If you launch another attack before then it'll wake up Reno and he might move out of the way of Infinity's End. And then so we used Bioga from Tifa and Point Blank from Barrett, but it didn't even need it. As long as that Infinity's End hits and hits first, you're good to go. And now here's the long cheese aspect. Reno will stay down for the entire rest of this phase. So you're going to utilize this little chip damage that Rude is dealing with you from the helicopter, and just to get all 3 limit breaks up. So control one character, have Cloud cast regen on that character, and then just have them block the attacks. The helicopter will always attack the controlled character, and then just block and wait for that limit gauge to fill up. Cast regen again as necessary, but you just want all 3 limit breaks filled up. Once you know, Barrett's or whoever your choice was, switch to a different character and do the exact same thing. Now realistically, you only need Barrett's limit break and Cloud's limit break. I suggest waiting until you get Tifa's as well, just in case, but honestly, if once you reach this phase in the fight, unless you mess it up real bad, you've already won. So luckily the time the 10 minutes of sitting around doing nothing happens later in the fight, unlike the failed experiment, which you're gonna see when I upload that video. But so now we're on Cloud, and we're just gonna do the same thing, all this limit break. And once we have all 3 filled, fight's basically won. But so once you have all 3 filled, you're going to switch to Barrett and use his maximum fury. Go ahead and use his ATB. Now, unfortunately, I don't know if I timed it wrong or what. The maximum fury in my trials of this fight, coming up with the strategy, took out Rude. But this time it didn't. So just wait for another ATB and use another maximum fury or focus shot. Just you need a little more damage to drop him into his next phase. But once we get him down and the cutscene starts, it's going to go by real quick. As soon as we gain control, we're going to cast Barrett's Limit Break on Reno and Cloud's Limit Break on Rude. Now that's key because Barrett's Limit Break can also hit Rude, but Rude is the bigger threat here. And that's where the Wind Elemental should also come into play a little bit, help out. And if you're strong enough, it'll take him out. Just like you see here, as soon as we gain control, Barrett's going to cast his Catastrophe Limit Break on Reno. And then we're immediately going to use Cloud's Limit Break Ascension on Rude. And that should kill them both. If it doesn't, you have Tifa's Limit Break as a backup for whoever's left. But either way, there it is. Real simple. It's that second phase that's really the pain in the butt. So as long as you get that sleep off right away and switch characters to make sure no one else accidentally gets an attack off after the sleep applies and wakes him up, you are good to go. Real duplicatable strategy. Just make sure you watch the video, maybe even pause it to see what's next. But once you got it down, you take these guys out and move on to chapter 13. Well, I hope that was helpful. These guys suck, so I'm glad I can make it easy for you. Until whatever the next video is, I honestly forget. But until then, I'm the Strategic Gamer, and I hope it helps.